Taking a risk requires trust. America was founded on a profound shared risk, a promise of more, and a leap of faith. Never perfect, but always seeking, America has remained a work in progress. But what exactly has pushed that progress when it seems that the only constant in America is change? What has sustained from the colonial years to the new millennium? If you ask some of America's most celebrated changemakers, leaders, and voices, they'd tell you
I've been to the mountaintop.
It's where they place their trust.
We were put here for a reason.
If we ever forget that we're one nation under God, then we will be a nation going under.
It's not in church or state, but in the powerful creative mystery that dwells in and around us all. It goes by many names and reflects the better way Americans have been seeking all along.
All you need to have is faith in God.
When you got God, you got a friend.
Put God first.
Freedom, light, love, God. In God we trust.
But what does it mean to trust in God?
I think it means we're not alone.
Hope in times of need.
I think it means that we're here for a reason.
That we're not on our own.
Acknowledge God in everything.
In God, we trust.
In God, we trust.
To the founders of our nation, trusting in God meant everything.
Where do our rights come from? God who gave us life, gave us liberty. Thomas Jefferson wrote in 1781, "Liberty is a gift of God."
The idea that rights and freedom don't come from a king or a government, a Congress or a president, but from a creator.
This was a revolutionary thought.
It all started with God and with faith.
The fact that the gospel must still be preached to so many lands in such a short time, this is what convinces me.
Christopher Columbus was motivated by his faith to sail to the New World.
Later, the Pilgrims came to create a new life for their Bible-based covenant society.
A life where they could prosper and freely worship God without government control or persecution.
America is different because it is based on a faith in a higher standard, a standard that no government could ever create.
We can see the evidence of God's guidance and influence throughout our history, shaping a nation united by a common belief.
This common belief is woven into our Constitution and the Declaration of Independence.
At the birth of our nation, this belief was essential for America to work, and it still is today.
The belief that the rights of man come not from the generosity of the state, but from the hand of God.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal,
that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights.
We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God.
Congress shall make no law respecting the establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof.
I think they meant that we should be free to talk about faith and religion in public. It's the idea that people ought to be free to appeal to a faith in a higher standard than laws or government, and then bring those ideas into the public square.
The founders of our nation weren't afraid of bringing faith into government.
Faith was not a requirement, but it was to be respected and protected.
But how do you sustain liberty in a free society?
Reason and experience both forbid us to expect that national morality can prevail in exclusion of religious principle.
George Washington thought that the very idea of a nation of people that could rule themselves, a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, had to be supported by an individual's sense of morality, virtue, and strong values.
I believe that we do not create our own morals. I believe that our morals do come from God, and I think that He sets them for us, and we just have to follow through with them.
John Dickinson, one of the signers of the Constitution, said, "Governments could not give the rights essential to happiness. We claim them from a higher source, from the King of Kings, and Lord of all the earth.
Our founding fathers' faith in God has enabled us to live now in one of the most free, equal, and prosperous societies on earth.
How did they do it?
They trusted in God.
They trusted in God.
They trusted.
To me, it's the highest example of faith.
When we say in God we trust, I believe that that's putting all of our faith and all of our freedoms in God, and I think that's a very good base for our country.
It means that as a people, we all trust in God that He's gonna do what's best for everyone.
I feel like when I put my trust in God, I feel a lot more calm and I feel less stressed, just knowing that there's a higher power who's taking care of you and who will never leave you or forsake you.
God gave us freedom because freedom is what gives us the ability to love Him, and all we have to do is trust in Him to have happiness.
Trust in God.
Trust in God.
And serving a God that you know will always be there for you, that will always be your friend, pick you up, help you through a tough time. I mean, that means the world to me.
In God, we trust.